Yo, yo, yo. Oh yeah, we got readout, so it looks good.
Does that mean it's good?
Yeah,
Okay.
that means it's good.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of New Room Japan. Today we're here with.
Bryan Cooper.
So Brian, what is your dream out here in Japan?
I'd say my dream out here in Japan is to connect Western film production as well as Japanese film production and kind of bring them together to create a new film production studio with the best that both industries can offer in terms of documentaries, short films, and maybe even some commercial work here and there, but mainly for documentaries and short films. That's the goal, that's the dream, and to have it be based here in Tokyo or in wherever, but mainly Tokyo is where I want it to be the main headquarters for this film production studio.
So Brian, I've noticed you've been here for a couple months already, right? How's the life so far?
So life in Japan is obviously it's different, especially from America. I would say it's been really convenient for me.
Bugs.
Yeah, the bugs, the bugs coming flying around. That's been real convenient. But for the most part, I've had pretty positive experiences. I haven't experienced too much of the negatives, I guess. I have quite a few friends here, so I think that takes care of a large problem for a lot of people when they come to Japan, is finding friends and finding kind of like a community. But I found that here. I would say the film community out here is really strong. There's a lot of people who are creatives. You can go down to Shibuya and see somebody with a camera. Like someone always has a camera out and able to connect and make friends that way. The food, obviously, love the food, love the culture surrounding food, the drinking culture as well. It's different in so many good ways, and I think if you're able to embrace those differences, then everything else will kind of fall in line. Of course, again, it is Japan. It may be far away from home, and you might have your own individual challenges or experiences. So my experience may not be the same for everyone, but I think if you come here and you find your tribe, then you'll be able to receive some opportunities to connect with people. I think that's what it's all about, really. It's just connecting with people and the ability to connect. Yeah.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about being different and being far away from home and everything. What are the struggles and concerns that come with it living in Japan?
I would say the very first thing that would stand out as far as struggles in Japan would be I learned a bit of Japanese back in the States, on and off for 2 to 3 years. First, I was progressing really well, and then distractions came in, and then so I wasn't able to focus as much on Japanese. So learning a new language, especially one that's way outside of Western Latin-based languages, is really difficult. I think one of the challenges I have is being able to communicate clearly and effectively. I would say another challenge is if you're planning on being a tourist here, that's not a problem. I think if you're planning on moving here, there's certain things that you really have to make sure that you have. The first challenge that I had was getting a Japanese phone number. Getting a Japanese phone number can be the easiest experience, or it can be the most difficult experience. Depending on if you own your phone or if you get your phone through a cell phone provider in the States or wherever you're coming from, you just got to make sure that you have the ability to add a SIM card or something to it, because if it's not unlocked, you're gonna have a difficult time. So getting a Japanese phone number was the number one challenge. Once I got that number, everything else just kind of opened up as far as being able to give my number to potential employers or gigs or things like that. So that kind of got taken care of. I would say going to the city ward office. When you first move into Japan, of course you have to like go, you go through immigration at the airport, you get your residency card, and then you got to you have 14 days to go to your ward office to to let them know that you're living in the area. So they set up like your pension, they set up they set up all that stuff. But for people who don't know, this is like the peak of paperwork that you got to do. Be prepared to sign a lot of documents. there's so much paperwork.
A lot of documents, yeah.
There's so much paperwork. There's no I can fill it out online. No, you gotta go to the office and you gotta stand in there, you gotta sit, you gotta get a number, you're in the queue, respect the queue. And it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time, but the level of Japanese that you would need to know, you don't have to know a lot of Japanese, but if you can get by with saying a few words, the people at the offices, wherever you go, they're nice and helpful, and they'll get you to what you need to do. I decided to do the veteran difficulty, and the lady asked me if I understood Japanese, and I was like, yeah, I understand it. And she definitely she definitely laid it on thick. I know I mentioned earlier about having friends, things like that, but for those who don't have friends, Japan you can be isolated, but also you can be introverted and extroverted at the same time. I think that's one of those unique things about it. Like, there's nothing saying that you don't have to go outside, but you can if you want to. But it is definitely a place where mental health things kind of come up, and so you want to make sure that you are able to kind of like cope with that. You're able to grow with those things and be able to have some resources, or like if you do have a friend, talk to somebody about it. I think those are some of the challenges that I had, especially coming from America. Most of my friends are in the States, and so being over here and seeing everything that's going on over there, it's kind of like, oh man, I wish I was there. But at the same time, they see what I'm doing. They're like, dude, you're in Japan. Like, what the heck? I want to be in Japan. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in Japan. Like, I've wanted to come here my entire life. Like, as a child, teenager, young adult, now, an adult. I've always wanted to come here, and now that I'm here, I was just like, oh, I'm on the other side of the planet. Like, it makes no sense.
Since your dream heavily involves in establishing a company out here in Tokyo, what's your plans? Like, how long are you going to be here? Like, how are you staying here?
Yeah, so as of right now, I'm on a student visa. So I go to Temple University, Japan in Setagaya. Outside of that student visa, two years until that visa expires. But then I plan to stay here as long as it takes for me to open the production company. So it could be 5 years, 7 years. The time scale is fairly unlimited right now. So with that, of course, have to find a way to like make a living and stuff like that, especially being a little bit older. I have quite a bit of professional experience outside of being a student. The way that I primarily support myself is try to do editing gigs, editing work from the States, and kind of build a client list from that. Earn some sweet USD in this economy right now. I will say, starting out, it was really tough right now, just because you're kind of working on other people's timelines, and so when it comes to money and things coming in, that can get really spicy and dicey really quickly. So I try to make sure that I'm not doing a whole lot of too much unnecessary spending. Yeah. That means I can't go to Yodobashi camera and I can't go to Big Camera and buy all the stuff that I want. But it helps me to realize that I need just the bare necessities to be able to survive. I need to make sure I have enough to get on the train. I need to make sure my phone stays connected and I have a roof over my head. Eventually, once I start building a list of solid clients that want to keep coming back, then I can kind of see like, oh, what other fun things can I do while I'm out here? But at the same time, it's not just surviving, but it's living. Putting yourself in a way that setting yourself up so that you can like live. He's out here, man. These
mosquitoes out here still. It's like in mid-October.
It's fall, and they're still out here.
It's pretty hot though.
but yeah, finding those ways to just kind of make some extra money and stuff like that, that always helps. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of sending messages and talking to people and saying like, hey, do you have a lead? Do you have somebody who's out there who's needing some stuff done? Tell them I'm available. And that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
Being a freelancer is really tough because the only person who's going to get the money and make the money is you.
Right.
And it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different, but I enjoy it.
To make your dream happen out here in Japan, like what resources are you lacking? What do you need to gain, or what do you need to do right now?
I need clients.
Yeah.
I would like to have people to work with, like yourself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But I also would like to do some work. Joining up with the crew here in Japan would be ideal. I know there's a lot of Western crews that come out here, but I want to join a Japanese crew. I don't want to like take over, but I just want to observe and see how it is that they operate. What makes it different? What helps it to stand out and be separate from the typical media that I see in the West. And that way I can gain an understanding of what I can do better in my own craft to progress and to make this production company thing actually work. The ability to collaborate outside of my comfort group or outside of English is something that is very important to me. And so that's why I'm learning Japanese. That's why I'm studying Japanese, so I can be able to make those connections. So I think that's like a skill set of being like, I guess, interpersonal communication, but in a different language. To do it in English is easy. It's my native language. But to do it in Japanese, that's a whole nother challenge.
Yeah.
So I think that's a skill set that I need to gain experience with. As far as resources, yeah, like I said, finding people to work with, finding clients who want to take me on as a cinematographer turned producer, who still does cinematography, directing, video editing, stuff like that. Those are the things that I feel if someone came to me and said, hey, I want to give you this opportunity to film this or to do this, and we'll pay you, I'd be like, oh sweet, I have a chance to really kind of baby it and take care of it and make sure I do it, but I do it well. Whether that be me focusing in on Japanese or focusing in on my film work, those are two things that I'm really passionate about. So those are two things that I really want to do well in.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of social aspects of living in Japan, can you describe the quality of life here, like in terms of like relationships, language, accommodation, stuff like that?
Yeah, so living in a share house is kind of interesting because you're surrounded by people from different cultures and different backgrounds. So we've got people currently in the house. We have someone from Brazil that just moved in. We have people from Italy, a couple of Americans, including myself. So one from Hong Kong. So it's really interesting to see like all of the different cultures and people that are living in the house. So you have opportunities to learn things, and I love learning. So that's a big part of why I love living there. As far as like relationships, I'm single. There's nothing.
He's single.
It's kind of funny because a lot of my friends are like, oh, as soon as you get to Japan, I was like, no, as soon as I get to Japan, I got school. Like, I have work. I'm not over here to like date out the gate.
Right.
I have another purpose.
Yeah. But he's single though.
Yeah,
he's single though.
I'm single.
Yeah.
But, I gotta have the purpose. But again, it's not that I'm close to relationships. I'm open to it, but at the same time, also want to be really kind of like down to earth and real about it. Now for language is a different story. So 3年前に日本語を勉強していました。アメリカで大学で日本語の先生は教えていました。日本語はちょっと難しい
ですよね。
I can switch back. I can switch back and forth. But since moving to Japan, I feel like my Japanese has somewhat improved. I'm able to like hear certain phrases or hear certain words that really stick out. I recently started changing up how I learn and try to acquire Japanese. The way that I would do it is, you get your Genki textbook out. Oh, today I'm gonna learn this. Learning the basics are some things that a lot of people say, oh, I need to learn the basics. It's like, for me, I feel like I like to make the mistake of not knowing what to say. Like, there was a guy that walked by here earlier. He had like a bunny in a backpack, and I couldn't think of the word that said, "Oh, may I see?" But then you said it, and it was like, "Oh, sumimasen, mite mo ii desu ka?" And I know, I know how to say it,
Right.
but in the moment, I just like blanked. And those are those moments where I'm like, okay, when it comes to understanding Japanese, but being able to speak Japanese, those two go hand in hand. So I think this comes back to like skills and things that I want to be more proficient at is listening, not with the mind, but with the heart.
Right.
Because if I listen with the heart, I'm going to be able to understand it a lot quicker. And sometimes my English is really fast, so I talk fast sometimes. But when I talk fast, I get it's because I'm really excited about something. If I can translate that excitement into Japanese and be able to spit it out in Japanese, oh man, dude, I'll be the Eminem of Japanese, man. But not yet, you know.
Not yet.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
Down the road.
Yeah. Brian, how do people reach out to you?
Okay. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Bryan with a Y, Cooper DP. It's straight to my Instagram page. I launched a YouTube channel called Horizon Documentaries.
It's pretty good.
I'm doing some test footage because I'm actually producing a documentary and headed up to Matsumoto next week. So that'll be on that channel and elsewhere. But primarily, it's been really dope working with New Realm Japan for like planning and producing because it really got me excited about producing and not only how to create content for working with you and with Michael, but also, oh man, what strategies can I use for my stuff as well? So it's been really cool, like collaborating with you guys and like even sending you signs and stuff for the sign series, which I've learned a lot from that, really. So I'm always on the lookout for like signs where, oh man, I'll send this to show them what they do with it. But yeah, that's the best way to reach out to me. But yeah, feel free to contact me on Instagram. Look forward to talking with you. If you have any questions about New Realm Japan, definitely be able to check out their channel. Yeah. They do some cool stuff. And part of the reason why I even moved to where I live now is because of one of the videos they uploaded to their channel.
Oh yeah, you watched the Omori episode, right?
Omori episode.
That was pretty cool.
So, and now I live in Omori. So
he does. That's crazy.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's the best way to get in contact with me.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for today. That was Brian. Thank you for being with me out here. That was a great interview. See you guys in the next video.
Right.
Bye.
Peace.